Hi friends, welcome to episode 45 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as Nadira Tani. I am coming to you today from my home in Central Florida where it has finally not calmed down, it's cooled down. It was like in the 90s today, and if you know anything about Florida, it's humid heat, so like you walk outside and it's poof, instant sweat. Nobody needs to live that kind of life. But it's like after 5 now and it's cooled down. There's lots of clouds in the sky, so I could be sitting outside and not dying of heat stroke. But still, must stay hydrated. My dogs Kiva and Tootie are outside with me right now, so if you hear the little barking and stuff, that's what is going on. Sorry about that. You want to come up here? Say hi. It's Tootie. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. So, like I said, welcome. If you are a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thanks so much for... Excuse you. You look, the camera's over there. Look over there. There you go. I forgot what I was saying because Tootie interrupted me. Let's just start with the crafting then. And it's quite appropriate that she's sitting on my lap because the first thing that I want to show you guys in my finished objects is a toy that I made for her. So we have this little thing. See, look. Is this your toy? Is this your toy? Yeah? Okay, all right, okay, here you go, here you go, here you go. So this dog likes to rip the squeakers, like the little squeaky part, out of the store-bought toys that we get her, and then she just plays with the squeaker, which always makes me feel like she's gonna like bite it one day and it's gonna get lodged in her throat and she's gonna suffocate. So I make little, I guess it's like kind of like a squeaker sock for it, and she loves it, as you can see by her intenseness of watching this toy. So it's just a stockinette square. Do you want it? Do you want it back? How bad do you want it? So yeah, I make these little like not sweater socks. I make these little squeaker socks whenever she rips a squeaker out of one of her toys. And she really likes it, and it's so cute to me because I'm like, oh, I made that for you and you like it. The second finished object I have is a weaving finished object. Now, a few episodes ago, I was talking about how I got these little loom like weaving kits from Hobby Lobby, like on clearance or something, and they were called Weave It and Leave It. And the object of that particular item was that you like string the whole loom and then you weave your little project and you leave it in the womb. You leave it in the loom and hang that as decor in itself. So I had done a rectangular one that I'll pop a quick picture in because I'm pretty sure I showed it on the podcast. And then recently I did this oval one. And the rectangle one, as you have seen, was only like regular even weaving. I don't know if that has a name, but like where you just go over, under, and then back and forth, and that's it. In this one, I did sumac stitch, I think is what it's called, but it makes like a braid that goes across the surface of the weaving piece. I don't know. So here it is. So that's the sumac stitch right there. So it's pretty cool. Here's some more. And then, what do you call it? Tassels? Fringe? But yeah, so that's that. And I cut it at an angle because I want it to be artsy. But yeah, I didn't weave in the ends on the back. I'll get to that eventually because I feel like I should actually weave in these ends because they're not like inside a sock or inside something. So I'm gonna weave those in, and it just hangs like like on the shelf next to our bed. So that's it. I think it's pretty cool. I like the colors. These are the colors that came with the set. Like the whole thing comes with the cotton thread for you to warp it with, and then like all the yarn bits to weave your piece and everything like that, and then the instructions. So it's a pretty cool thing. I think I got this for like $1.50 or 75 cents. One of the two. But yeah, not too bad for my second weaving thing. And that's all of my finished objects. So carrying on with the whole like weaving idea, I decided to try another loom kit that I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance. But this one is not a weave it and leave it. This is one where you like warp the loom, and then when you finish, you take the piece off of the loom. So this loom, it's who's it by? I don't remember who it's by, so I'll put the information down like on the screen. But this loom, it's a 6x8 rectangular loom, and I'm just weaving however I feel like. So as you can see, I've warped it with this metallic cotton, like crochet cotton, and then I have like just a gray thread, like the metallic cotton. This is a white white yarn, and I'm just kind of weaving however I want to. I don't have like a preset plan or anything, but I like how it's coming out. I'm also going to introduce this color in somewhere, and then this is the metallic cotton that I'm using. So yeah, that was everything, basically everything about this. I don't have any particular design or anything that I'm doing with like how I'm doing the colors or anything, just kind of playing around with how to create angles, how the different yarns and threads interact with each other. And yeah, I'm just gonna fill up this whole thing, and then we'll figure out what it wants to be after that. One thing that I have noticed about doing this, like when I was sitting and doing this weaving the other night, it's very like meditative. Like just the action of weaving this large tapestry needle over and under all of the threads, and then pulling it through and pressing it down, and then going back and pressing it down. It's very like a monotonous activity, but it's one that has a calming effect also. So that's pretty cool. Put that down there. The next work in progress, it probably isn't a whole lot longer than it was last week, but this is my folded cuff sock that I'm doing on 9-inch circulars. Yeah, I've only done that much since last week, but thanks to you guys who left comments and like tips on how to make knitting with the 9-inch circulars easier. The main thing that you guys told me was relax, because I am very like tense when I'm like knitting on them, which doesn't help anything. And Susan of the Knit Lib podcast left a comment saying that she had trouble knitting continental with the 9-inch circulars, so she tried knitting English style. And I recently, like I think it was like 2 days before I read her comment, I tried knitting English style, meaning the yarn in my right hand as opposed to the yarn in my left hand like I normally do. But it is a whole lot easier with the yarn in my right hand, which is cool. But then at the same time, I can't really figure out how to tension my yarn properly in my right hand. I mean, I wind the yarn through my fingers the same way, but for some reason, like the yarn, I can't hold it with the same tightness. But I guess that's just, you know, a learning curve when you learn something new. So I'm glad that it's going better with the English style knitting, and because when I knit normally, I flick my finger. So I'm a continental flicker. So I'm trying to do English flicking as well, instead of like letting go of the yarn and wrapping it around and continuing to knit. So I don't even want to get that into my muscle memory at all. So I'm just 100% flicking. And whew, water break. it's, the air feels heavy. It's that humid out here. But anywho, so yeah, this is just a regular vanilla sock. It is Red Heart, Heart and Soul in the Sorbetto colorway. And it has a, yarn down. It has a folded brim. Or not folded brim, folded cuff. So, yeah. I typically want my socks to be, like my sock legs to be like 60 to 80 rows. These are definitely not going to be that long. Nah. I'm probably going to stop at like 40 or 50 because, yeah. I mean, unless I hit some sort of breakthrough with my English flicking, like learning the English flicking method, but this, I can't knit and not look this way, of course, because I'm learning something new, so I need to give myself a break. But it's just that frustration of learning a new technique and not being great at it already. So there's that. And the last, oh wait, no, I have 2 more finished objects. Let me show you this, or not finished objects, works in progress. So the next work in progress, you guys haven't seen in a while, and it also hasn't seen any activity in a while. And this is my like round blanket that is inspired by the work of Zenobia Bailey. I am striping, I don't know what that was. I'm striping Karen Simply Soft in black and Mandala in the gnome colorway to get this awesomeness. So I am showing this to you as a way, sort of as whip shaming for myself, because this has just been sitting on the couch looking like, please help me, please come work on me, love me, put down your knitting and come crochet on me. And I've just been like letting it sit out all by itself, all by its lonesome, with no love. And I need to show this project some love, especially because my friend Tiffany said that she's a teacher, and in her classroom for next year, she wants to do neons in black. Oh, something is actively biting me. Come on, Florida. So yeah, when she told me she wanted to do neons in black in her classroom, I was like, oh, so that's why I'm making this blanket. Because I had no plan for this. I was just kind of like, I wanted to see what this mandala yarn would look like striped up with a black, and I was super inspired by Zenobia Bailey. But I need to get on this because it's summer break, you know, for teachers, and it would be nice to have this done for her when she goes back to school. So you guys hold me accountable. If you follow my Instagram and you don't see this popping up, like, just like send me a nice little message like, hey, this is a reminder that you were whip shaming yourself over that blanket. You probably should listen to yourself and work on it. I also can't remember what size hook I used on this, so I think maybe I took a picture of it and put it on Instagram. Hopefully the hook is in that picture. If not, it's probably a 5.5 millimeter, because that's like my favorite. So yeah, whip shaming done. Oh gosh. The last work in progress that I have is my Namaste Joyful tank. And last week I was lamenting about how,
oh, this is gonna take me forever. Oh, I'm gonna be knitting on this until September, October.
But evidently, I don't know, I love knitting stockinette. That's not true, because I'm so bored. But but it was just kind of like one of those things, like I want to have the tank, and it's like blazing me through making it. So this is definitely a project knit. I am, as usual, I'm working from this Rowan book that I got from the library, and I am making the Joy cardigan by Kim Hargreaves. This, ooh, Oh no, don't give yourself a paper cut. This is what the tank is supposed to look like. Not entirely what my tank will look like because I'm doing all of the modifications. Like I said last week, this tank is supposed to be knit in pieces, so you have the front and the back. It starts at the bottom with a frill and goes up from there. Yeah, that's basically it. So I am still knitting it bottom up. I omitted the frill. I am doing it in the round. I have lengthened it, and oh, I substituted the yarn, which I discovered today, or not today, I discovered a couple days ago that my gauge is actually bigger than it's supposed to be, like wider. So this is going to be, it's probably going to be wider than intended, but that's okay because none of the measurements that were in the pattern are actually true to the thing that I'm making because I'm doing so many adjustments. So let me just shut up about it and show it to you. Dun-da-da! So let me see. I'm up to the point where you split for the neckline, and so this is my actual waist right here. So I kind of want it to be like this long. So it's probably, yeah. So it's gonna split for the neckline, like right here, and then you work up a little bit more, and then it splits for the armholes. So I'm excited to see how this is going on. And then I realized the other day, like I was super worried, like, oh my goodness, what if I knit this and it's too short? Because I don't want to like sit down or reach for something and my back is out. I don't want that. So then I was like, if when you finish it, if it's too short, you just join on the bottom, like the bottom hem, and knit down from there. So that's what I'm gonna do, if I need to. So yeah, so that's how it's looking so far. If you follow my Instagram, you will know that I discovered, as I was just happily knitting along, a knot in the yarn. So this yarn is Lion Brand Shawl in a Cake in the Namaste Neutrals colorway. Yeah, Namaste Neutrals Shawl in a Cake. Now it's supposed to be a continuous gradient like this, right? So it kind of is. I mean, basically it's a continuous gradient from here through the dark brown, and then there was a break and it went back to this what is this, like a tan color, and then it's continually gradiating from there. So like this is right here. So I'm looking at, like, I looked at the ball and it's just the rest of these colors. So I don't know if all of the shawl in a cake ones do that, where it finishes the gradient and then it breaks and then it starts again, because that would be kind of stupid, but whatevs. Yeah, so let me show you how much I have left. I had to recake it. Hey darling. Lamar came out on the porch. You wanna come say hi? Yeah. Let's look at it. Sidebar, this message is his fault. I said, hey babe, what should my sign say? And what did you say?
It's my favorite Woody Page sign from Around the Horn.
It's his favorite Woody Page sign from Around the Horn. If you were watching when I first got this, I said how like the idea that I got from this was from that guy Woody Page, because on the show he had a little chalkboard and he used to write like witty things, and this was evidently Lamar's favorite thing. If your nose runs and your feet smell, you're built upside down. I was showing you how much yarn I have left in the first cake. So this is how much is left. And I have bought a second cake of this yarn just in case I run out, but fingers crossed I won't. So if I don't run out of yarn and I don't have to break into that cake, I'm totally gonna return it. There's that. So yeah, was there anything else I wanted to say about this? This was my travel knitting. We went on a little mini trip over the weekend, and this was my travel knitting in the car. I can, because I'm knitting like my normal continental way with this, and I had gotten to the point where I was just knitting even, like I didn't have to worry about any increases or decreases or anything like that. I was able to just go in the car, and then on the way home, it was dark, so I was knitting in the dark. It was wonderful. I did manage, in the midst of the day, I did manage to snatch my needle out of like 4 stitches, and Lamar is spraying the wasp nest. Now, if these wasps come for me, they have friends over here.
I would spray them above your head.
They're,
So I'm not gonna spray them now.
thanks.
I need to get rid of these.
Yeah. You don't want them to come try to take my eye out again. But yeah, I did manage to snatch my needle out of like 4 stitches, and when I tried to put the needle back in, it wasn't working, so I had to get like a tapestry needle and pick up those stitches to save like my work. But it wasn't like too deep, which also shows like a growth in my relationship to knitting, because when I first started, if I had done that, I'd have been like, oh well, I'm gonna have to start the whole thing over because I can't save it. Now I'm just like, just don't move, put the needles back in the stitches, keep it pushing. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, namaste neutrals, that's the colorway. Namaste Joyful Tank. I'm gonna aim to have it done by next podcast. We'll see. We will see. And that is everything from my works in progress, and we will go right ahead into my maker plans and stash positions. So the only maker plan that is on the list today is my Gemini shawl. So I don't have my old notebook out here with me to show you kind of the idea that I have like sketched up of the shawl, but basically it is it's going to be a triangular shawl made in 2 pieces and then joined, and then it's a 3-color shawl, and there will be striping between colors a fly just flew into my eye. Who does these things, like, who else does these things happen to? Huh? At least it was a fly, not a wasp. Anyway. How does that even happen? I wear glasses, and it went this way. That fly was a jerk. It is going to be a shawl that's made in 2 pieces. Each piece will start out with a motif, like a square motif, in colors A and B. It's a 3-color shawl, BT dubs. And then it will have, the next section will be striping in colors A and C, and then B and C. And then the next section will be striping in colors A and B. So I had 2 colors of yarn in my stash that I wanted to use for this shawl, and these are both single ply. This one is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Crumble colorway, and I got this from a lovely lady during Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted last year. So this is Crumble, and then to go with it I have this, which is Malabrigo Machita in the Frank Ocean's colorway. Nope, Frank Ochre. The Frank Ochre colorway. So this is what they look like together. And the third color, I was trying so hard to find another color of what would go with this, and Lamar actually suggested, like, you know, maybe trying a light, like a pale green, because this kind of reads as like almost a greeny tone. So he was like, maybe a pale green would look nice in that, or like a pale color. So I was scrolling on Instagram, and lo and behold, one of my favorite indie dyers, Birch Hollow Fibers, put up this picture of some new colorways that she was doing. And one of them was a very pale yellow. And I looked at that and I was like, I think that could work. So I showed Lamar, because he had kind of a vision of the colors, like how the colors would work together in his head. So I showed him and he was like, yeah, that will work. So I messaged her to see if she does a single ply, and she does. So this is getting a little bit blown out, but yeah, that kind of looks like white. It's not white. Where's the light coming from? You can kind of see it's a super pale yellow. The color is called corn silk. So if you know what corn silk looks like, that's basically this color. I wish you could see it. Is that reading? I feel like it's showing up cooler on the screen than it is in real life. But so yeah, these are going to be my colors for the Gemini shawl. So the three colors that I've envisioned this shawl built out of, you have two colors that are like not high contrast, maybe like close colors together. So I have the pale yellow and then like the richer yellow. These are going to be the twins, so Castor and Pollux. And then you have another color that's like a more stark contrast between from the others, or just a completely different color, just a departure from both of those colors. And that is the color that represents the separation that happens in their story. So quick recap of the story of Gemini. So Castor and Pollux are the twins, are the Gemini twins. Castor was the mortal twin. Pollux was the immortal, or like demigod twin. And there was a war, and Castor dies. Pollux is so heartbroken about it that Zeus eventually goes and brings them back together as a constellation. So I wanted to take that story and create something around it that, if you know the story, you can kind of see how the colors interact with each other, with the two, like the brothers' colors starting out together in those motifs, and then each brother is striped with the color of separation, and then after they're brought back together, they're striped together along the whole shawl. So that's that. I'm really excited to get started with this. I've been going through my stitch dictionaries looking for like stitch patterns that kind of speak to each of the twins. I do want to do, like, I was kind of looking at things like maybe the V stitch or something like that, that are two separate stitches that are connected together that kind of count as one stitch. I don't know, we're still kind of like building that up, but I cannot wait to start. This came in the mail and I was like ready to ball it up like right then. And I was like, no, Kalisha, you have to show it on the podcast. So you can kind of see like the yellowiness. I feel like the color wasn't showing up, so I'll put a picture of them together so that you can see how it's supposed to look. So that's the only maker plan that I have. Oh, Robin also sent this. It is a Birch Hollow, is that upside down? Yep. Birch Hollow Fibers, what do you call these things? Needle gauge. And I really like it. Isn't that cute? So I'm gonna put that on my key ring. Thank you. So that will bring us fully into stash positions. This week I have some really nice things to show you. Lamar actually gave me a really, really nice gift on our anniversary was just, oh, it's July now. Our anniversary was about 3 weeks ago on June 15th. And he bought me a couple baskets. One of my local yarn stores, the Barn Yarn in Claremont, carries these baskets. Let me get the tag. They are, oops, African market baskets. Fair trade baskets from village co-ops in Ghana. So this is their label. And like these are some of like the patterns that they do and everything. And oops. And each basket, because they're hand woven, each basket is one of a kind. And I just love seeing the different like patterns of these baskets. So I got one maybe last year. I can't remember when it was, but I got one, and it is currently the home to like all of my 50-gram sock yarn balls. And so he gave me 2 more. So I have this one, and it's so pretty. Oh my goodness. Look at all those colors. The colors, dude, the colors. And this one. And I love the simplicity of this one. I was looking at this and like looking at the construction, like I want to learn basket weaving. Can I take a class? Is there a class that I can take on basket weaving? So I got those, and I don't know what I'm gonna put in them yet. More than likely it'll be yarn. We all know this. We're not surprised. But I like the way, like the one that I have, it's yellow, blue, and green. So those are our wedding colors. So it's like all of that basket is in those colors. So when we were looking at the baskets in the store, he said we have like this one that's like really strong colored, and then this one that's kind of like natural colored, and then next to it we can put the other one that I have that's also very strongly colored. And he was like, these will look really nice like on like a console table or something like that. And I definitely agree. And I think it would just look even more awesome, full of cozy yarns and things, right? Am I right? I know, I am. Everything is better when it's full of yarn. So yeah, I love those baskets so much. Okay, so going on from there, everything else that I want to show you is thrifted. And let me tell you how the thrift store fairies, or like the thrift store, what? Ether of awesomeness was smiling upon your girl this past week. Because, all right, get your drink, it's story time. So Lamar and I went to the thrift store, and this was after we went to the yarn store and got the baskets. We had gone to the thrift store. I don't remember why. Who needs a reason to go to the thrift store? Anyway, so we're walking around in Goodwill. He had gone to the book section. I was just moseying around through the clothes, like looking at little tiny baskets. Like, can I put a basket in a basket? Is that a thing? And as I'm walking down this way, I was looking at the shelves on this side, and then I turned to look at the shelves on this side. And as soon as I turned, I went to touch something, my brain said, what was that you just saw? So I turned back around, and lo and behold, there is a box. I look at this box, and I'm like, wait a minute, how much does this thing cost? $6.99. And I know now you're just like, well, Kalisha, what the heck was the box? incredible sweater machine for $6.99. Oh my god. I picked up the box and I was like everyone in the store is looking for a sweater machine. Let me sneak away with this. So the box wasn't taped closed. So I then, of course, you know, you want to, whenever you have something big like that, you want to make sure that like all the pieces are in there, because even for $7, you don't want to like get home and not be able to do anything with it. So I took it over like to the side, like on one of the tables, and I opened it up, and it had everything. Okay, not everything. It didn't have the elastic thread and the instructional VHS. Everything else was in this box, and I cannot express to you the glee that I experienced when I realized this. So I'm standing there and I've got like all these pieces spread out on this table, and this guy walks by and he's like, "Oh wow, that looks really cool. What is it?" And I was like, "It's a knitting machine. Oh my gosh." And he's like, "Yeah. Well, you have fun with that." And he walks away, and I was like, "I will, dude." Like, ah! So it was filthy. Like, it looks like it was in somebody's garage, and then it rained like near it, and then like it got a little moldy or something, or like dust. I don't know. It was dirty. So I spent like a couple hours one day like just cleaning up all the pieces that I could, and then it has, why don't I just show you? So this is the I don't even know what this piece is called, but this is the one that actually does like guides the yarn. We're gonna call this the yarn guide. I bet it actually has a name in the instruction manual. Talk amongst yourselves. Carriage. This is the carriage, and it comes with, you can't see that. It comes with 4 of these keys, and each one like is for a different thickness of yarn. So all 4 of the keys are in here. You have like your manipulation tools for like doing whatever you need to do with the whatnots and the hoo-hoos. It came with these green cards, and these are for like spacing the latches, like the latch hooks, so that you can set the machine up. So that's what that is. And then there's supposed to be a yellow card in there where that's for spacing when you're ready to actually knit with the machine. That was missing from here, but the internet is a wonderful and great place, and I was able to find the measurements for a yellow card, so I just cut one out of cardboard. So you have those. Yeah, it has the like the rod weights and the hem to like weight your fabric down so that it knits and it's pulled down the way it should be. And then this is half of it. So it comes, like the bed comes in 2 pieces, and you hook it together, and then you can like go back and forth across the whole thing. It comes with 100 hooks. So this is what it looks like. So there's 2 of these, so it's like twice that length. And then this part goes on here, like this. Whoop. Well, I'm not gonna hook it for real because it's hard to do backwards. So it slides back and forth on here. So now, when I was cleaning this, these little red bits here, they're supposed to pull out so that you can take everything apart, clean your hooks and everything like that. But they were all like stuck in so tight. So I tried like pulling them out by hand, didn't work. Like they were so tight in there that I was like, well, obviously these aren't meant to come out. They were just filthy. So I ended up having to take my steamer and like just like bombard it with steam, and then take pliers and pull them out by hand, so that I could like take all the little needles out, all the little hooks, and clean them, and like clean inside all of the grooves and stuff. Because let me tell you, I went through so many Clorox wipes, y'all, but I'm so happy with it now. So I'm gonna put this away, and I did a swatch, as you do, and let me show you. Wait, is this the top or the bottom? Okay, that's the bottom. So this is the top. Look at that. So it's a nice, like, it's a loose gauge, like the way that it knits, but I could definitely see myself like wearing something that is knit on this gauge. Like this yarn is, it was just like one of those random balls of yarn that I had in my stash. It's probably acrylic. It's probably worsted weight, or maybe a little bit thinner, but, and look how much stretch that has because of like the gauge and whatnot. But yeah, this swatch is 50 needles wide. So this is only half of the width that I'd be able to get using this machine. And oh my gosh, $7? $7 stinking dollars for this awesomeness? So yeah, after I cleaned it and got it all set up and everything, I thought to myself, gee, I wonder how much this would be if, you know, I wanted to buy one online. So I Googled, because Google knows everything. I think the cheapest one I saw was like 90 something dollars. And it went all the way up to 300 and something dollars for one of these. And those are all used because these things are old as anything. But seriously, like even at the low end, $99, and I scored this in a thrift store for $7. So yeah, super, super excited about this. I set it up on one of the card tables, like one of our playing card tables last night, and I was like going back and forth. I'll put a video in here because I did remember to film one because I was super geeked about it. I even FaceTimed my mom and was like, "Mommy, look what I'm doing!" And she was super impressed. So yeah, there's gonna be some machine knitting in my future. But okay, so this, look how old this is. So this is the, what is this called? The pattern book, right? The Sweater Machine Pattern Book for Beginners. Yep. What does that look like? 80s, 90s maybe? 90s at the latest. Look at this. But you can actually see, oh no you can't. You can't see how filthy this was. Maybe. Look at all that smuts. So yeah, I am so unbelievably excited that I found this gold mine in the thrift store. So I'll put that to the side. then today we were running some errands and passed by another Goodwill, so I was like, can we stop in there? And Lamar was like, yes. He is so like, what is it, like, long suffering with my thrifting love and my crafting love. And thanks, boo. Anyway, so we stopped in the Goodwill today, and we were walking around, and he likes reading the author John Grisham. So he wants to own all of John Grisham's books in hard copy. So whenever we go into a thrift store, he always goes to the book section to see if they have books that he doesn't already own. So he was over there, and I'm like walking around, and I see this rocking chair. And you know, I want a rocking chair because they're so comfy. I love just rocking in them. I am a granny on the inside. Nobody is surprised by this. And so I go up to this rocking chair, and y'all, the thing was $5. So I'm like looking at this like, oh my gosh. And in our thrift store, they have it where on furniture they have like a two-tiered tag, where if you want to buy it, you rip off the bottom part of the tag, and if you like see a piece of furniture and the bottom part is ripped off, then you are to treat it as something that's sold, so you can't buy that. So both of the tags were there, so I was like, oh my gosh. So I sat down in a chair, I'm like rocking in it, I'm like shifting around to see if it's like, you know, trash for $5, and it was great. So Lamar came over, and I was like, babe, can we get this rocking chair? And he's like, how much is it? Because it's a good quality chair. So I was like, $5. And he's like, what? Well, let me sit in it to see if, you know, if it'll hold me, because, you know, it might hold you, but it's probably not going to hold me. So I let him sit in it. He was like, all right. But we're driving his car, and he drives a, what is it? A Nissan, something small with two doors. That's not like a buy furniture at the thrift store and take it home kind of car. My car is like a small SUV. Like, I have the drive down the street and see like a table and chairs on the side of the road and put it in the trunk because we have that much space car. That's what I drive. We were not in that car. We were in his car. And he's like, well, it's probably not going to fit in the car. And I was like, I'm going to fit it in the car. So we go and buy the chair. And of course, when we get to the car, he like leans the seat all the way up. And we're trying to get it into the back seat, and it won't fit. And they were trying to put it in like feet first, and it won't fit. We try to put it in head first, and it won't fit. And I'm like, okay, well, how about I get into the back seat and you lean the passenger seat all the way down, and we put it in there upside down? Will that work? And he's like, I don't know. He's a non-believer in my packing skills. That is for sure. Man, we leaned that chair back, put that thing, flipped it upside down so that the top of the chair was going into like the foot of the you know, where your feet go in the car. Slid that thing right in there. Shut the door. We ready to go. I was in the back seat like this. But I'm happy because I got my rocking chair. So yes, the thrift fairies have been very, very kind to me. I have a sweater machine and a rocking chair, and I can't wait to make a little cushion for it. And I'm gonna sit my little basket next to it. I'm gonna put my works in progress, like my project bags, in one of these little baskets next to my rocking chair. And I'm just gonna sit there and knit, or sit there and crochet and just be happy as a clam. Yay! So yes, that is everything that I have for stash positions. I'm so excited about the things that I was able to find and the gifts that I was given this week. What can I say? what can I say that best describes my level of happy right now? I don't know. A lizard just ran out the bushes. At least it wasn't a fly trying to come up in my eyeball. Fly's trying to drink my eyeball juice. Anyway. So the next section that we have is black fibers, black threads. Now, if you watched last week's episode, I mentioned that I had someone that I wanted to talk about, but ended up pushing it to this week. So this week we are going to talk about Gisma Magara. And let me pull up the rest of my notes here. She is an aid worker in a South Sudan refugee camp. And what she basically does is she teaches the women there soap making, knitting, and jewelry making so that they're able to make money for their families. Now, they have these like refugee camps and everything like that because of the wars that are going on in Sudan. But Gisma is doing this work to help women have a brighter future in that area. So one of the things, when I was reading the article about her and what she's doing, and of course I will post a link to the article in the down bar, but when I was reading about her, one of the things that really stood out to me about the things that she was saying was how she felt called to do this. She said she wanted whatever she was doing to be helping someone. And then she goes into talking about the different struggles and the setbacks and things that she experiences on a regular basis just in trying to do this work. And one of the things that she mentions multiple times in the article is how difficult it is for her to get into the camp. And she's not like somebody that just occasionally comes to this camp. Like, she comes to this camp on a regular basis. And she was saying that sometimes, you know, they've submitted their paperwork from long time, and they get to the camp, they're like trying to get through the gates, and the soldiers are like, no, we don't have your paperwork, we don't know what to tell you, you can't come in. Or she said they'll be bringing in fuel for the generators in their building, and when coming through the gates, the soldiers will take the fuel, and there's nothing that you can really do about it. But she said even though she deals with all these different struggles in getting to the people, it doesn't stop her. It doesn't make her want to throw up her hands and say, oh well, somebody else will have to do this. She keeps persevering through that, which is just an amazing mindset to have, that you want so badly to help your fellow human being that you persevere through struggles that you don't need to. Another thing that she talked about in there that kind of hit home for me was how when you are spending so much time putting out energy to help somebody else, and you're seeing the struggles that they're going through, and you're seeing the hardships that are affecting them, it's very easy for that to weigh you down. And a lot of times, I know that I do this myself. Like, I'll want to just like muscle through whatever it is that I'm feeling in order to be there for a friend or to be a support system for somebody else. And in listening to her talk about, you know, her experiences with this and how doing this work, even though she wants to do this work, it can sometimes, you know, bring her depression. That made me really think about how important it is to take care of yourself. And it's that whole idea of, you know, when you're flying and they tell you in the event of an emergency, put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on the person next to you or before you go to help somebody. Because you can't help someone else if you can't breathe, you know? And it's all well and good to want to, you know, be the champion and be the cheerleader for other people and to be that strong foundation for other people, especially if those people around you, you see them struggling, you know, you see them in dealing with, whether it is a mental health thing or a physical health thing, or if it's a political thing, or any of these things that are just always surrounding us that you want to help. But it is so very important to remember that even in wanting to help, you still have to make sure that you and yourself are oxygenated, that you and yourself are on a foundation, on a strong foundation, and that you are in that place where you can recognize within you if there's something that, like, if you need to step back and you need to regroup so that you can be your best self in helping other people. Like, I think that's like the main idea that I got from the article when I was like reading it. Just like the importance of making sure that you yourself are strong and stable before you really try to help someone else. Now, you can help someone else if you're not in the best place yourself, but will it be as impactful? Will it be as long lasting? Will it be a testimony to even a third person, like a third party, seeing you helping this person? Will they see, oh, helping somebody else drains you? Will they see that? Or will they be able to see a person who has gathered themselves together in a strong and steady way, and then is putting out to help someone else, But one of the things that was in the article was a quote from her mother, and I didn't write the quote down verbatim, but her mother was basically saying, like, when you go to do something, when you go to do something in this world, make sure that it is something like to help someone else. Make sure it is to help someone. In this world that is so steeped in negativity and hardship and struggle, like, you don't have to look far to see these things. It's right there. It's right in our faces all the time. It's a beautiful thing to know that there are people who are championing for others, that are looking out for their fellow people, and who are bringing that positivity into such dark corners, that are bringing that brightness. And I just found her story to be so inspirational. And it's interesting to me because I read this article probably a month ago, and something always came up when I was going to talk about it on the podcast, like the podcast got too long, or I had something else that I wanted to talk about that had just happened, or something like that. But Gisma's story and the inspiration that I got from reading it just stayed in the back of my mind. So I hope that you take a moment to read the article as well, and I hope that it inspires you to, in whatever way that you can, help somebody else out. Even if it's something in your day-to-day life, like, I don't know, even as small as helping a lady get a shopping cart in the Goodwill, which is something I did today. They were all stuck together. I don't understand. But, even if it's something as small as that, or up to joining in, like, a protest for something that you really believe in, I hope that you are inspired to be the light that you can be. That's everything that I have for Black Fibers, Black Threads. I definitely I hope that you take a moment and read that article. It was a really good one. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the podcast. I had some stuff written under life and whatnot. It was basically, I am melting. The end. I've just, in the last couple weeks, I haven't been getting a lot of hours at work. And then at the same time, Lamar, he's a teacher, so he's on summer break. So while it's like, oh man, I'm not getting enough hours at work, I have time to spend with my husband that I normally don't get to spend with him. So just being able to like ride around with him on errands and stuff has been really cool. And I realized, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, because I was watching the one of Katie of Inside Number 23's, her surprise video. And in that video, it was just so many like pictures of her and her husband. And it just made me feel like, man, I'm a photographer and I don't really take pictures of me and Lamar. Like, they had so many pictures. Now, I'm sure, you know, it's spanning years, of course, but it really inspired me to be more intentional about capturing more regular life. And this is something that was more in the forefront of my mind when I was actively scrapbooking. And I think that I want to get back into scrapbooking, aside from the fact that I have so many scrapbooking supplies that I probably should get back into scrapbooking so they're not just sitting around. But just that documenting of your regular everyday, you know, like being able to look back on it and see how you all have changed, I think that will be a really, really awesome thing. So I am going to be more intentional with taking pictures of my life, and specifically of me and Lamar together. And I'm sure that he is going to be so excited about that. But he'll get over it. He'll love it. Because he'll like being able to look back on pictures of us. Like when we're old and gray and we look back and we'll be like, I was such a stunner in my day. What was that? But yes. That's everything. I hope that you have a wonderful day, or whatever time it is when you're watching this. I think that's everything. Thank you for being a part of my universe. I love you. Bye-bye.